Thank you very much, Jessica. I'm very happy to be part of this summit. And let me share. Well, thank you very much to all of you to being here today. And what I will share with you is these key elements for long-term collaborative alliances. I am a little bit of myself. I'm Jessica Soto. I'm a graphic and interior designer with over 20 years of experience in that field. And I develop graphic design for different brands all over the world. And also I am a certified coach and a master in neurolinguistic programming. As you can see, I really love, take life to the fullest and live great adventures because I think life's too short and we can seize the day every day. But I think the most amazing adventure has been all these years sharing spaces and learning from different scholarships that I've been awarded that put me in different places of the world, learning from amazing women, wise women all over the world. And these experiences started in 2012. Before that, in 2002, I found my own advertising agency. But this path towards sisterhood started in 2012, and it's been going on since then until now. The Vivi Lead prom led me to meet women that lead companies that actually make an impact all over the world. And one of the key elements that we share with them in these spaces where the most important question is either we're going to start like we all do when we became women entrepreneurs and businesswomen and have families and all that, is like you feel a little overwhelmed with all this weight upon your shoulders. And it's like you feel like you're running against the world, and change the mindset to collaboration, where we all make an impact within each other and have a content, support, and emotional support, so you can keep leading, but not breaking in the process. So one of the elements for working in collaboration that I learned and work for me all these past years is having a common goal as a group. When we start creating alliances with different organizations that do the same as we do, they are focused on helping women or other fields, but we have points that actually match, is have common goals as a group. Because sometimes as a company, we will have our own goals. And the things that actually bond us is the ones that we will want to have it round in paper, And also assume the responsibility, individual and shared. Before we start having the long run, and start to just meeting and put on paper, write down all the things that each one of us will be taking care of. So we don't have the same, double responsibilities, or over the long run, we, instead of helping each other's, will put a bump, on the other companies or coworkers, So it's better to have that on front. Also, ensure active and fluent participation, because once we start having an alliance and we are all excited and happy and really getting toward this alliance, we start having several meetings. But on the long run, if we don't have this as a frequent and in an agenda day and time reserved for this issue, what happened is that it will maybe delay and a project that maybe can take, a year to have it launch, might last, I don't know, 3, 5 years or never. We need to have that on schedule and have to be really fluent on both sides. Sometimes because of different agendas, we can maybe not match on time, different time frames. And it's important that you always have the same day, same time. So it becomes in your mind as a routine. Also promote symmetrical and reciprocal relations, because once we start working, we will find that there are things that maybe your skills are more required than the other counterpart. So it's good that we, in these several meetings that we have already scheduled, will be sure that it's both ways, because all the long-term relationships for having a really good collaboration have to be win-win. Once one side gets more responsibilities or do more than the other one, the bond will break eventually, sooner or later. And developing interactions based on dialogue and ethics. We all talk about ethics. We can have our own, but it's good to be double checking that with the counterpart or with the other companies that the people that you're dealing with. Because what I learned is that what might be obvious for you is not obvious for everybody. So it's good to talk that on front. Think of maybe worst case scenarios, because that will give you a response of maybe how they think, and you can put that, on front, so you don't have problems later. Also, it's very important to consider the profiles of leadership of the counterpart or the company that you will want to have an alliance or have a merge or a new project that you will start. The mindset of the people that you will be working is very important to have these checkpoints. If they are afraid of change, instead of being ready for new experiences, people that you want to focus is people that enjoy that others are successful, not the ones that are really secretly want the other to fail. Also, the kind of leaders that support others and are always willing to help others, instead of this mindset of Queen Bee or, Lion King, that they are the center of the universe. Also, that they support others and are always willing to help others. In this case, this is a mistake, but it's actually that they, the ones that take responsibility over their own actions and the ones that actually blame other people for whatever goes wrong. The ones that actually discriminate or don't value the work of others, and the ones that actually support others and are there for people around them and treat them with respect. One concept too that I found very important and is kind of relevant these days, and I don't know if you heard about it, please chat if you have any questions, or let me know if you ever heard of this mindset about the servant leadership. The servant leadership theory was first explored by Robert K. Greenleaf in the 70s, but actually Ken Blanchard is one of my favorite authors about it. This says basically that if you want to lead something, you have to be willing to serve. If we are, as leaders, are not serving other people or cause, then we are actually not good leaders. And our main focus should be empowering and uplifting those who work not just around us, but in other spaces, even from family to work. These are the differences, like traditional leaders and servant leaders. You know, traditional leaders believe in employees can support them, and servant leaders support and serve others. Traditional leaders use power as a tool for inclusion, and actually servant leaders includes employees to increase engagement. Also, measure success through employee out. The traditional leaders and the servant leaders measure success through employee growth. So either one just is focusing on speaking, the other one is focusing on listening. And they believe, the traditional ones, that it's all about them leading everybody else. But the servant leaders realizes that it's something bigger than themselves. They want to bring a legacy, and that cannot be done alone. You see, these are the different models between traditional leadership and servant leadership. You know, in the one on the left, traditional leadership is the leader, management, employees, customers, and value streams. In the other way around, leaders are behind because they give support to everybody up and they lift everybody up. So it's a different mindset that is really important to have that on mind. The 10 characteristics of a servant leader, it's listening, empathy, awareness, healing, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, commitment to growth of people, and building communities. And I want you to, if you have a paper near you, I don't know if you can just quickly write down 10 circles and divide it by 10, and write down in one of those circles all these servant leadership skills. This is a little checkpoint to see which are your skills right now as a servant leadership. Can you do that right now?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go. I will guide you through the process. If you have any questions about which ones or any questions at all, please feel free to, to ask me anything. Please let me know when you're done. For example, listening is always just have people around you and be there for them and have these open channels for them to feel comfortable when they talk with you. Empathy is the ability that we all have to communicate and get connected with people around us. Awareness is the ability to be just on time, present, and be looking around everybody, you know, the needs of everybody else around you. In where healing is actually the capacity of fix this bond that sometimes in relationships get broken over miscommunication, and you're the one that actually goes there to fix that and have them talk, or someone have a really bad day or a critical situation, they know that they can count on you. That's the healing ability. Someone have uh, the hands up. Do you have any questions, please?
Jessica, buenos días. No hablo inglés, pero a ver si les puedes responder esta inquietud. ¿De qué manera o cómo puedo graduar estos 10 círculos dentro de mi día a día como líder? ¿Cómo lo puedo?
Que vamos a llegar a eso después. O sea,
Genial.
primero, sí. Once you have made all these 10 circles divided by 10, I want you to start coloring them in the scale of 1 to 10. How are you in that scale, in each ability, to have an idea of what things you need to improve and actually recognize yourself for the ones that you already have a lot of development as a leader. You have 2 minutes. And be honest as you can, because that's the most important thing. We are not meant to be perfect. We are do our best. And we always have room for improvement. As I always say, if we already develop everything and overcome everything, then we die. When there's no more to learn, we just pass away. We will be learning every single day until we are no longer here. So let me know if you have any questions, please. So we have 1 more minute. Okay. Anyone wants to show your circles? Johanna, Yvonne, fluent Spanish today.
Lynn?
Have you done your circles?
Yes. Just given the nature of the business that I'm in, which is palliative care for children, so the score of mine, nothing's lower than 6 and above, because we practice this every single day, trying to run our organization in this way that you actually mentioned. Obviously, we don't always get it right, but it's something that we're very aware of, and also very aware that I have a high empathy, and that is a problem sometimes in business. Listening is good, but I like to talk too much. So sometimes I talk over people, and I'm very aware of that, but sometimes I can't seem to help myself.
Well, but we all are a working in progress. So actually being aware of something that you need to improve, it's a big step.
Yes.
So we will go to this. The ones that you have lower points or the faculties that you will find that you want to improve, we will see them right now. See? So now the ones that you have lower score, we'll start with that. So you write down the areas. And then we will put an answer for each area. What do you want to achieve? Because now that we are aware of our level of development in all these different skills to become a servant leadership person, we will write down which one do we want to achieve as a goal for each section. Just focus on the first three, the lowest ones, the first 3 or 4 lowest ones. Then you will have time to do this later, and I think this is being recorded, so you will have access. The second question of the ones that you will improve is, what do you want to do it for? Because sometimes if we don't find the inner purpose that comes from the heart, we just let it go. It's good for us to keep, tracking down and being persistent to actually remember us why I want to do it in the first place. Why do I want to improve these different skills? So what do you want to do it for? Then the next question is, what will you be willing to do to achieve it? And you can not just write down one, you can write down different ideas that will come out, that tools or resources that you have available that maybe, because we don't see this as a opportunity, or we don't know that we have all these areas to improve, we just don't use them. So just write down, what will you be willing to do to achieve it? And then for each area, you will have to write down and have a commitment when you will achieve it. And we need to review this at least once a month to see which parts we are improving, what are we, holding back or not committed enough, to overcome this. And actually, this kind of exercise, it's great if you can put all your team together, the ones that actually you work the most, and have this done with them as well. So this is like your personal leadership wheel, and you can actually have a meeting and discuss which are the strong points and weakness, or for all your team, and have then a common plan of how you will overcome all these and improve. And actually, mentorship is a really powerful tool when you have people in your team that have higher skills in some areas that can match and can become the ones that teach you abilities that you need to practice more, because we all are blank papers sometimes in areas that we just need someone to practice to. And then once we start practicing them long term and fast enough, it will become automatic in our brains. It will become a new skill. So do you have any questions about this? Oh, thank you, Oliana. Thank you, Marlene. It's sometimes we think life's complicated, but it's us who made it complicated. Because if we step down just one day to just be with ourselves and take time to actually do this work, you will find that it's really bonding and really connects with you. And yes, it requires a lot of discipline, but that's why there is this question: what do you want to do it for? Sometimes we do things because other people wants us to do these things, and that's not a real motivation. When the motivation comes from within you, it will succeed, because the power of the heart is the greatest power of all, you know, and that transformation have to come from within you. So if something wants to last, and that's something important for having these collaboration spaces, is that you really want to do this for you, because you are aware that there are things that we can do bolder and bigger if we have a team or create a lot of collaborations. We cannot do this by ourselves. Well, we can actually, but it's burning. You will sacrifice time, life, family, friends, and it's not worth it. It's not ecological for yourself. That's why these spaces for create awareness of how I am as a leader will help you through the process of having a lot of different alliances with ease. It will flow. It won't be a burn. It will be something that will excite you, will, give you happiness and joy, because they both mindsets will go to the same path. And that's really empowering and inspiring. But have to come from within. There's no shortcut for that. Okay, let's go with the tip. Feel free to keep chatting. I love that you're there. I cannot see you in video, so I don't want to think that I'm talking to myself. Okay, this is how tips of how you can improve your action plan. You can practice active listening. What is practice active listening? Sometimes when you have a conversation with someone that actually is telling you something that you don't want to hear, or is the opposite of what you were thinking, most of us are thinking of the answer and we are not listening. We are not paying real attention, which means turn the chit chat off and just listening. And we can actually practice this even with movies, that you just watch a movie, put a stop, and see if you can remember word by word of the last paragraph or sentence that you were hearing in the movie. That way you practice if you are really listening to whatever you are having interest in that moment. That's something to practice too when you have kids or partners, or with your couple. Just try to see if you can memorize and see word by word what they were saying. And actually, if you want to give a surprise to everybody that you're actually listening, you can start doing this, paraphrasing what they are saying. It's a way of actually showing that you're really listening. Then engage with questions. When you want someone from your team or even in your family that actually connects with what's the point of doing this or that, is asking them questions. Why do you think this is important? What do you think this needs to be done? How will you do it? Not my way, your way. And just ask questions instead of telling everybody what to do. Because as a boss or as a leader in the old way, we are used to we're supposed to tell everybody what to do, or we are used to think that we are leaders, so we got to tell them where to go, how to do things. And if they don't get it, or they will do it because you're saying it, you're saying they have to do it. But it's better and lasts longer if you ask them questions. Then you will actually realize that it will be a point where you don't have to tell them anymore. And that's what we're supposed to achieve. So our team gets proactive and use their own mindset that is aligned to all the rest of the team. Also respect their competence. If we hire people or we have alliances with other partners, is because they bring something to the table. One of the most common mistakes is that you hire someone that's really, really smart and capable of do their own things, and you want to be all the time there telling them what to do. And sometimes, most of the times actually, when people get out of your company or quit, they don't quit the job. Sometimes they quit the leader. So it's important to develop us the best way we can in these servant leadership skills, so we don't lose valuable people that can help us in the long run just because we don't respect their knowledge or their way to do things. Also, this approach as an equal is very important, especially with gender issues, because in everyday life, I use a lot the Pygmalion effect, where you actually see the greatness of someone and treat them like they can become instead of what most people see them right now. It works by magic. And you can watch a lot of movies about it. The incredible teachers that goes into a school and they have people that have really tough realities and they treat them like they're nothing. And there comes one amazing teacher that teach them from the heart and persist them and gets involved in their lives and how they switch around. That is really powerful. And I invite you to do that with the people around you, and also with your coworkers, and also when you have allies, because not everybody will be in their high peak every day. And that's really important to remember, that even if we have tough times and challenges to overcome, everybody have their own resources to overcome them as well and as good as you. Also consider personal biases. Everybody have once in a while challenging issues or family problems or different circumstances that actually, even if we have this old mindset that you're supposed to get to work and have all your personal life outside the work, we are human. You don't get your brain outside the work. So that's not real. And if you want to lead a team, that's also not useful because we are not dealing with robots, you know, we're dealing with people. So it's good to consider, and maybe if someone is having a crisis and we cannot help directly, we can give them time for them to overcome or, you know, pass this period. And as a team, we can be sure that anybody that works around you that have a crisis that can happen, a family can die or whatever, they count on you as a support, emotional support for them. And that's really powerful and important when you want to do your best for this team that back you up. It's some of the assets that actually money cannot buy. And also create a positive environment. It's good to have in mind that if we create an environment that you want to go to work happy, and when you think of the space that you share with other great people, you know, it's positive, that's something that it's a healthier environment. And now, as Aljana said, this is definitely something that was highlighted during the pandemic, being sensitive to the needs and circumstances of others. Yes, actually the pandemic brings a situation of constant fear, and the stress that comes out of all of this got like high peak when it started. And the fact that a lot of people can work from home as well, actually, especially the women, that in my country is really affordable to hire someone to help you with your kids at your home. And because of the pandemic, they couldn't do it anymore. So they start to just keep working the same hours online, having to take care, you know, of the kids and their school and all that. And a lot of people really have like breakdowns because there was a lot of weight and they couldn't have the extra help that they were used to, you know. And they have to start actually creating this positive environment at their homes. And this digital environment is challenging because we as humans like contact. We are social people, you know, and this Zoom skyrocket, you know, because of the connections. But now that we are getting back, you know, to gatherings with people in life, in our neighborhoods or whatever, a lot of people got this fear to actually get out there again. And this can backfire in so many levels in your personal growth. So if you can get all this map of servant leadership together, first for you, because you really want to make an impact on the world and change things, and being able to actually be there for other people, the first one that you have to be there for is yourself. Because if you break down, you cannot help anybody, not in your family, not in your company. So if you have these abilities together and you develop them from the heart, then you can give other supports. And sometimes we don't practice even active listening to us, to ourselves. Because I heard a lot, for example, in Spanish-speaking countries, especially, when they say like, oh, I want to die. This happened, I want to die, or whatever. And I'm like, are you listening? What are you actually saying right now? Sometimes we just don't listen to comes out of ourselves. And can be sound as a joke, but actually whatever comes from your head, like, I didn't mean to, it came out for a reason. There are no mistakes in communication. Once it's out and came because you think of that. Whether you were aware or not, actually, that's a good key point when you talk to people around you in your office or whatever, and they say things that after they say, oh, I didn't mean to, just have a note. That's not me, that's no mistake. They just can what you think, just as raw as they're thinking. So that's a good ability to this active listening practice, because there are a lot of things, our information out there, that because our own prejudice or just justification, we hear, but we don't really listen. And eventually, when something happened, something bad happened, or something changed, all of a sudden, then you remember all the things that you were hearing before. And you're like, how can I not tell? Because you were not listening. It happens very often. And also these questions, engagement with questions. It's an habit to develop as well. But if you can start doing that, maybe with your family first or people around you, you will notice the changes. There are big changes when you ask the right questions. So everybody around you find themselves the reason why they should, you know? So I invite you to ask yourself if you'd rather be with a self-sufficient mindset, or do you prefer to start generating collaborative alliances to create more impact? So I just want to share, this is my favorite quote of Henry Ford: of coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So I wish you a lot of success. Thank you.